Hello and welcome to Diplomatic Channel. I am Amarachi Ubani. Last week was a particularly trying time for France. Who knew the two young men, both in their early 30s, would be able to unleash such terror on the city of Paris? Worse still is how much bigger their plot got as they made their way north of the country, trying to hide from the special police force. Today, their attack is history. The gunmen are dead, so are some of their accomplices, and sadly, so are 17 other people who had no idea that last week would really be their last. And what was the cause? A cartoon of the ISIS leader drawn by Charlie Hebdo cartoonists Kabu, Tignes, and Walensky. We understand that when the gunmen gatecrashed on the editorial meeting holding at the magazine's office at the time, they called out each of the cartoonists by name before killing them. This incident reminds us again how global the threat of terrorism is. Condolences have been pouring in from around the world, including here in Nigeria, where President Goodluck Jonathan sees the attack on Charlie Hebdo as another manifestation of the depravity and brutality which the world has to contend with, and what must become a truly collective effort by lovers of peace, progress, and freedom across the globe to rout the agents of darkness and retrogression. The President's message, made known in a statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Dr. Ruben Abati, also has a message for those in news media, urging them not to be discouraged or disheartened by the brutal murder of their colleagues in Paris on Wednesday. Nigeria shares a special relationship with France, and that relationship got even closer when President François Hollande invited President Goodluck Jonathan and the presidents of Chad, Niger, Benin and Cameroon to a summit last year in Paris. We'll be right back. Welcome back. The Obama administration ended the year with the release of more detainees from the U.S. military prison in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. On December 30th, the Pentagon announced that 3 Yemenis and 2 Tunisians were flown to Kazakhstan for resettlement. If we take our minds back to President Obama's first election in 2008, shutting down the detention camp in Guantanamo Bay was one of the first things that President Barack Obama said he wanted to do. The VOA's Aru Pandey takes a look at whether the president will be able to realize his goal to shut down the facility during his last 2 years in office.
With the transfer of 5 detainees to the Central Asian nation of Kazakhstan, the Obama administration ended 2014 with the removal of 28 prisoners from Guantanamo last year, the largest number since 2009. When asked this week if the administration is accelerating detainee transfers, White House spokesman Josh Earnest only had this to say.
I can tell you that it continues to be an important priority of this administration to ultimately transfer all of the detainees out of Guantanamo.
Since taking office in 2009, Mr. Obama has not wavered in his promise to close the facility. During a May 2013 counterterrorism speech at National Defense University, the president called the prison a symbol around the world for an America that flouts the rule of law.
Given my administration's relentless pursuit of al-Qaeda's leadership, there is no justification beyond politics for Congress to prevent us from closing a facility that should have never been opened.
While the United States works to resettle nearly half of the 127 remaining detainees cleared for release, one of the main obstacles to emptying Guantanamo is 2010 legislation that bans the transfer of prisoners to the United States. Matthew Levitt, counterterrorism fellow with the Washington Institute for Near East Policy, says the issue of trying Guantanamo prisoners on U.S. soil has been politicized from the beginning.
I think the court system is capable. I think that our prison system is capable. I don't think it would put Americans at any more risk than we are now by virtue of having other people like them in the country, and I don't think that there is a real risk. That's my personal opinion. It has become a political football.
Ultimately, keeping Guantanamo open as the number of prisoners is whittled down may be difficult due to the cost, at nearly $3 million a year per prisoner. But Levitt says lawmakers should not make cost the rationale for closing the facility. Instead, they should shut Guantanamo because it's the right thing to do.
When we come back after the break, we'll take a closer look at the attacks in Paris and how it has impacted on the rest of the world. Please stay with us.
Every second, every minute, every hour, and every day, business decisions are taken across the globe. From banking to the capital market, manufacturing to maritime, from aviation to insurance, SMEs to blue chip companies, we look at the different angles of business from the government and private sector perspectives. We speak with experts to provide unbiased views that help you take key decisions in your daily business life. We don't just talk the economy, we serve you a cocktail of business updates that help you make profitable business decisions. Join us every weekday at this time for Business Morning, only on Channels Television. Business Morning, keeping a tab on the economy.
Now, it seems the whole world is standing in solidarity with France this week. Over 40 world leaders joined the start of a major march through the city of Paris on Sunday, hoping to demonstrate unity after 17 people were killed in 3 separate attacks in the country from last Wednesday. This was perhaps one of the biggest rallies the city has witnessed in years. The gunmen attack in Paris is not only shocking to Europe, but frightening as well, with the reality hitting that terrorism is not only present in Europe, but thriving as well. The march on Sunday signified a unified France, a unified Europe, and a unified world in the face of a common enemy, terrorism. 2 brothers upset about a cartoon about ISIS leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi decided to unleash terror on the cartoonists, even policemen on the streets. World leaders condemned the attacks and sided with France, but the attacks confirmed that France has become a major target of terrorists in Europe. In 1 month alone, between December 2014 and January 2015, 5 attacks have been recorded in various parts of France. 2 days before Christmas, a driver intentionally ran into shoppers at a Christmas market in the city of Nantes, killing 10 people. He's said to have stabbed himself afterwards. By the weekend, a driver, shouting the Arabic phrase "for God is good," drove right into pedestrians in Dijon, injuring 13 people. That Saturday, a man using the same phrase was shot dead by police after attacking them. And then, just a few days into the new year, another series of attacks. 17 people are dead, including 2 police officers. It's been speculated whether these attacks could have been prevented. It seemed while police had information on the Kouachi brothers, they could do nothing but wait for them to strike. The brothers had been groomed by radical Islamists and ISIS. Same with their accomplices. While Said and Sharif Kouachi and Ahmed Koulibaly have been shot dead, Koulibaly's partner, Hayat Boumediene, is still on the run. Authorities say she may have entered Turkey, from where she might make a final move to Syria. How the attacks in France remind us that Nigeria is in a current fight against insurgents, especially in the northeast. And would the experience in Paris cause us to rethink our strategy, or will it urge everyone to unite against these terrorists hiding behind the cloak of Islam? These are questions for my guest this week, public affairs analyst, Mr. Oluwaseyi Adeyemo. The recent attacks in France have shocked the rest of the world and has shocked as far as Japan and even for us here in Nigeria.
Yeah.
But your reaction is any different?
I mean, of course, terrorism is something that we all must reject. So obviously it's a shock that even with all the things that have been done over time, we still have it at this level. Yes, it was something that I was particularly surprised about.
And the 2 young boys who perpetrated these acts, the Kouachi brothers,
Yeah.
are an example of how young people now tend to be sympathizers of extremist Islamists in the Middle East and for so-called Islamist causes. Why do you think there's this shift, right now for young people to tend towards these sort of groups and to do these sort of things?
First of all, the young people are the most vital group of human beings in the world. They are a vital ground that most of the times when you're planting new seed, their soil is on the ground you plant such seed. For instance, when in school, in university days, a lot of people went into occultism, not because of any other reason other than the fact that it was hype, it was the in thing, you know. You felt like you were the main guys in school because people feared you and all of that. So usually young people will normally revolt against the norm, and when they find out there is an opening, the fact that they get some kind of strength and endorsement, so they will naturally tilt in that direction. So obviously that is what is happening right now. Yeah.
And could this really have gone another way? I mean, I know the rest of France and the rest of the world is mourning with France, 11 people killed, including the gunmen, the attackers. But could this really have gone another way? Could the cartoonists not have, drawn up something satirical and to trigger this sort of thing? Or could the reaction of the gunmen have been different?
Incidentally, I mean, from the turn of event, it's obvious that terrorism sometimes can't be blocked into a box. Yes, I agree that if you live in the world, you need to be sensitive to other people's stand and be able to run with them and, sort of operate in things that they will be comfortable with. Yes, I believe that they probably should have been more responsible, in ensuring that, look, these things are things that these people are sensitive to. But it's obvious with the fact that they went on to attack the supermarket on Friday that they actually have another agenda. So one could say that whether that cartoon was drawn up or not, if they had intended to unleash terror on France at a time like this, they will still go ahead, because obviously their agenda is beyond. And I will simply say that sometimes what they just do is find excuses at the time when their timetable is up for them to unleash terror.
Is it possible that Nigeria can really, really identify with what's going on?